You are running out of time to prepare. I've been talking to you for well over a year that this time period in America was going to be critical. I've been on several different podcasts, including here, telling you what is going to happen, and it's been happening. This was predictable. Now, if you have been watching the news lately, you know that things are getting real in the world, and it's going to be brought to America whether you like it or not. To be clear, I've been warning you that there are terrorist cells operating in the United States. How do I know this? I'm still tied to law enforcement. I was a cop for 30 years. I'm still tied to those people. They are showing me the bulletins where Homeland Security has been coming out and warning that terrorist attacks are at high risk right now. Couple that with things that have been going out from the FBI's leader himself. He has said that the terrorism threat level in America is very high, higher since before 9/11. Now in this video, I want to break down the intelligence we have so far, and I'm going to tell you what you can do to prepare right now, as well as prepare your church, because we obviously focus on church security on this channel. So let's go with what we know so far. I had a Joint Terrorism Task Force officer who specialized in Hezbollah come onto the channel and talk to you about the threats that he saw that Hezbollah posed in the United States. By his estimate, he feels that there are at least 30,000 Hezbollah agents in the United States. He watched them come across the Mexican border. We also know, based on what the FBI and Homeland Security has reported, that numerous people with ties to ISIS have come across the border in the last few years. Many have ties not only to ISIS, not only to Hezbollah, but Hamas and other organizations as well. ISIS has told their followers to attack American churches and synagogues. The FBI has put out 2 separate alerts in recent history advising law enforcement, not you, just advising law enforcement, that large venues, including churches, are at serious risk of a terrorist attack. He specifically singled out churches in these large venues. And now we see the conflict with Hezbollah, Iran, Hamas, and Israel growing. America's going to come into it too. Now, our agent that worked Hezbollah, that did the interview with us, told us that he knew that if America went to war with Iran, that those Hezbollah agents in America would be unleashed to create chaos in America. We are at a weak and vulnerable point in America. We have less police officers today than we did 4 years ago. The ones that we have had their training on tactical issues taken away from them. And it's been replaced by feel-good DEI type training. Now look, what can you do right now? Churches. We are at condition orange. It's going to change here shortly, I think. I think that we are headed to red, imminent attack. I think that's coming. You should be ready for that in case you don't get the message when I send it out. If you don't want to miss the message, subscribe to ChristianWarriorTraining.com, and I will put that out there first before I come here in other venues. All right. So you need to recognize that there is a high risk of terrorist activity in the United States, including power outages, cyber attacks, and other issues coming up. Now, currently we're at condition orange, which is high risk for attack. Now, what you should be doing right now is churches should collaborate with local law enforcement to ensure a visible security presence during services and events. Now, this partnership can include regular security briefings and updates to keep church leaders informed of any potential threats. You should also be implementing comprehensive surveillance of all gatherings using technology or just using your own skills. Now, look, our churches cannot turn into a bunker. We're seeing on the East Coast right now with all the flooding that we're having after the hurricane. People are coming to churches for help. We cannot close our churches. In fact, we have to keep them more open than they have been before. You as a security team member just need to work really, really hard. It's going to be harder on you than anybody to find those people that are coming in. I've done videos on how to spot possible terrorist activity occurring in your church. You can head over to ChristianWarriorTraining.com, go to the training tab. I've got everything there that you need. It's all free. I'm not charging you for anything. If you want to support the mission that I'm doing here in the ministry, you can always do a paid subscription, which helps me run things here. Some other things that you need to do on a personal level. Things are about to get real, and Americans aren't going to be used to the hardships that are coming. I am lucky. The Army taught me how to be homeless, so we're going to be okay here. Some of you weren't so fortunate to have those hardships, but those hardships are coming. All right. Number one, make sure all your cars are fueled and spare cans are filled. You should be doing that right now. When you get done with this video, get in your car and go fill everything up, because gas prices are going to go through the roof here shortly. You want to think about getting solar for your house to run communication gear. Anything else that you might need is probably not going to run your freezer unless you get a whole house solar. Jackery is doing a 50% off sale right now. You can head over to their website. I have nothing to do with them at all. I just saw that they have a 50% off sale right now. You should all be running and ordering stuff right now if you have the means. Another thing to do is Starlink. I have Starlink now. I do it so when I'm on the road, I can still contact you guys because I do spend a lot of time in the mountains. Starlink is the only thing keeping people connected on the East Coast after that really massive hurricane. And we are seeing the value of having Starlink. It's pricey. It's $600 to get the mobile version. And then it's going to cost you anywhere from $50 to $120 per month. Now, you can turn it on and off as you need to. So for me, when I know I'm going to the mountains, I turn it on. I pay my $50, head up to the mountains, do what I need to do, keep in contact with you guys. And then I come back home. And then when I know I'm not going to go back for the next month, I turn it off. And then I'll turn it back on the next time I go, and I'll just keep doing that. You can do the same thing. You can keep it off. I would probably keep it on for the next couple months with everything going on and then shut it off as things calm down. So think about getting that Starlink. It's working out really well for people on the East Coast. They're the only people that have Starlink are the only ones in communication. Obviously, you're going to want guns and ammunition. Why? Because cops are not going to show up. If we experience a massive terrorist attack in the United States or we receive a massive cyber attack, the cops are not going to come. They're going to be tied up. So you're going to have to be your own police officer. So you're going to need less lethal force. Think bear spray would be the easiest because it's a ginormous can throwing at large distances. That would work best. Followed up with a handgun and a rifle for each person in your home. All right. The other thing that you're going to want is food for 1 year or more, including your dog and for every family member. Why for a year? Because my friends that work in intelligence and work for federal agencies that look up this information, they are all prepping for food for a year. That tells me I need to do the same thing. So I would suggest you do the same as well, along with at least 50 gallons of water. You can just go down to Home Depot or some other place and get a 55-gallon food safe drum and use that for your water storage. That's a nice cheap alternative. I bought 3 of those 55-gallon drums for about $40 a piece. It was fairly reasonable. And then, of course, something to filter water as well. Guys, time is short. We've all read the book and it tells us what's going to happen, and it's happening right now. Right? We see it. We can look in the Bible and almost pick exactly where we're at right now. Do me a favor in the comments, right where we are in the Bible right now. I'm interested to hear your perspective. 2 very important things that you can do when you leave here. Number 1 is pray unceasingly for yourself, your church, and your family for safety from all the evil stuff that's occurring right now. Number 2, remember your ABCs. Always be caring.